It's mailbag time. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Breaking news. Quentin Johnston's going to play. Okay, that just came across. We're going to update you on more fantasy relevant stuff as we get going here. Adam and Dan waiting for Jamie to arrive. We're going to read your emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com and your Apple Podcast questions, your YouTube questions, and your Fantasy Cops questions. And remember, our show, Fantasy Football Today, is presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Here's Dan Schneier. Hello, Dan.
What's going on, Adam? How you doing today, my friend?
My belly is hanging over my pants. I have had
this is a big day for you.
So much candy. Just
post-Halloween is always a big day in the Azer household in general, but specifically Adam because he treats it almost like he's a kid. And he'll just ravage through. I would imagine you had just as much candy as your kids.
And all week I've had more. Because I
more. You've had more.
Today I have had 3 like mini cookies, a Take 5. Yeah, these were just from my mom. She sent them for the kids, but I'm eating them. I had a Take 5 bar. I had a mini Snickers, like a fun size Snicker. This is it's 2:30, and I've had this already.
Do you confiscate any of the candy from your kids, or you divvy it, or you just kind of take as you go?
Halloween is the biggest waste. It's unbelievable. The amount of candy that doesn't get eaten. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I should save it for next year, but I feel like it's a little bit too long. It's a little bit too long.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy on the block.
No, we have a lot of news, so let's get to it. Jonathan Brooks is not expected to play, so Chuba Hubbard is probably a pretty good start against the run defense that's been absolutely terrible. It doesn't look like the Tennessee Titans are playing this week. Basically, everyone missed practice on Friday. Tony Pollard missed practice. Tajay Spears missed practice. Calvin Ridley missed practice. And L'Jarius Sneed missed practice. So I don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean that none of them are playing. At one point, Spears got in a limited session, I think, on Wednesday. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're facing the Patriots. You can pick up that DST. Julius Chestnut, I picked up in 1 league. I picked up in 2 leagues. I'm going to start him in 1 league because I don't really have an RB2. But for me, it's not a very big recommendation on Julius.
Not quite the season yet for Julius Chestnut.
Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Etienne are game time decisions. If Brian Thomas Jr. plays at Philadelphia, are you starting him?
I think Brian Thomas is a lock in my lineup anytime he plays, unless we hear something about a pitch count or something like that. I think if he's good to go, he's gonna. I mean, if he plays, he's gonna be good to go.
And we'll see if Darius Slay practices today. He has not been practicing, and I didn't see their practice report. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is looking good, so it's a great matchup. The Commanders give up more than 5.3 yards per carry to running back. So do the Giants. I'm definitely worried about game script here. But who do you like better in this game, Brian Robinson Jr. or Tyrone Tracy?
You have to go Brian Robinson Jr. The Giants' run defense has been super susceptible the last 2 weeks. Najee Harris and Saquon Barkley basically tore them up. With that said, Tracy's still a good start. Tracy's really turned himself into a workhorse this season. I don't think anyone expected that. And the Giants realized something last week that will carry over, I think, against the Steelers. No matter what looks the defense gives them, stacked boxes, safeties rotating down, aggressively playing the run lanes because they don't trust Daniel Jones to attack any vertical areas of the field. They still have to run the ball. The Giants came out with like 3 straight run plays last week, and then they opened the half with a similar thing. They have to run the ball to keep it close. So I think he'll get a lot of touches.
Jerome Ford is going to play for Cleveland. I am higher on Nick Chubb than anyone on this show. Yeah. Are you also? You feeling him?
Not as high as you, but definitely somewhere in between where they're at and where you're at, because I think it could be a good week for him.
Where they're at? Well, they're here right now. Jamie's here. They're here. Hello, Jamie.
Hey.
But Jerome Ford is going to play. I hope that doesn't change anything for Nick Chubb.
Houston, it'd be good for him.
Yeah, it can't be good for him. Houston left guard Kenyon Green is likely out for the season. Can't be good for the Texans. Devontae Smith was not spotted at practice.
But the Philadelphia Inquirer spoke to him and said it's fine.
Hooray. Jordan Love practice. Drake May is questionable. We'll keep our fingers crossed he has a chance to play. Lamar Jackson's going to play. Amari Cooper's a game time decision. Jamie does not like Amari Cooper this week. Does he?
No, I mean, banged up. Targets haven't been there for him. I wrote this in start set. Like, it seemed as if it was a Deshaun Watson problem. Maybe it's an Amari Cooper problem.
Maybe he hasn't played. What did he play last week? About half the snaps. The week before that, he played hardly any snaps.
I will say this, though. One thing we went over on Beyond the Box Score yesterday, the Bills receivers have been much better with him on the field. Khalil Shakir has been better with him on the field. Obviously, Coleman has as well. So I just think takes away some attention from the defense. It's going to be tougher for them if Cooper is out in this game.
Not this game.
Not this game.
Yeah, not this game.
What do you mean?
I mean, Cooper playing, Cooper not playing. I think they do whatever they want.
They do. Okay.
They have no pass rushers, Miami.
Well, the good news is the Bills were like 20th in pass rate over expectation before they acquired Cooper, and they're like first, and they are first in it after. So they've been making that approach to go more pass heavy.
A couple of doubtful Bengals: T. Higgins and Zach Moss. Zach Moss is doubtful with a neck injury. Start of the week has been Chase Brown since Monday, Tuesday, whenever you decided. But this was only better for him.
Should be, might be his season high in touches, which would be great against the Raiders, as we know. So definitely improves his outlook.
Yeah, I wonder who they use on third downs. That's Zach Moss's role.
Could be Travion Williams, but my guess would be still all Brown.
All right, DK Metcalf is questionable. And Gerard Mayo has been talking up rookie wide receiver Javon Baker. See if he can make an impact. Speaking of Beyond the Box Score, Dan, would you like to promote it?
Yeah, so Beyond the Box Score, 2 times per week. Mondays with Adam, myself, and Jacob Gibbs. On Thursdays, me and Jacob bring on a guest. We had Dave Richard yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time talking ball and getting into some advanced stats and some second half schemes we think will bring some offenses out. So a little bit of a deep dive, a lot of fun. Check us out. We're on YouTube on Thursdays on the Fantasy Football Today Express feed.
Okay. You didn't put the audio in the feed?
Not this time. I tried. I failed. I tried again. I got insanely frustrated.
Why? What happened?
We could talk about this off Bob, but I'm struggling with the editing. I mean, I have no technical background in it. I'm just kind of learning on the fly from a Zoom video I recorded with Thomas. So, I mean, like with him trying to explain it to me. So,
all right, you and I will go through it. We'll go through it.
That's what he said. Like, take Adam's time. And I've already taken enough of Tom's time on this.
Yeah, no, I got you. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FANTASY, and you're going to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. So here's how it works. Just download the BetMGM app, sign up, use the bonus code FANTASY. It's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up. Emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Here we go from Kenneth. Travis Etienne or Amari Cooper? Both of them game time decisions, but let's say they both play. Who do you prefer, Etienne or Cooper?
Cooper.
Same.
From Frank. Hello, Jackson, Dick, Duper, and Bullock.
No
Reggie's?
Reggie Jackson, Reggie Bullock. You don't know what the Duper is.
Yeah, I don't know. Marks? Who's Mark Bullock? I don't know who this is. I have Devontae Smith, Darnell Mooney, Ladd McConkey, and Josh Downs. Who am I sitting? Devontae Smith, Darnell Mooney, Ladd McConkey, Josh Downs.
McConkey.
It's either McConkey or Mooney for me. I'm going to go with start Mooney, bench McConkey as well.
Yeah, Diggs most likely out for the Cowboys. That's bad defense.
Oh, these are American Dad characters.
Oh.
Not a fan.
I have never seen it, but I saw one episode because the creator of American Dad is apparently a big fan of my favorite band, My Morning Jacket. So there's like a fun My Morning Jacket episode. So that's the only one I've seen.
From Elon, dear Bruce, Arthur, Diana, and Clark.
Bruce
Marvel
Wayne.
characters.
It's always Marvel. If you hear Bruce, it's you know what? Try to stump us next time. Give us
Bruce is not a Marvel character though. Bruce, are you talking about Batman?
Well, it's superheroes.
Okay, that's DC.
Oh yeah, Jamie, you should.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, excuse me.
Better than that. All right, here's a trade. Grade the trade.
Terrible.
I traded DJ Moore, Jake Ferguson, and Jalen McMillan. DJ Moore, Jake Ferguson.
Bruce Banner, by the way. What are we talking about? Of course, Bruce.
Oh yeah, the Hulk.
Yeah, I was thinking Bruce
Damn.
Wayne. Yeah.
Damn. We got.
But I think these are.
It's definitely DC. I was wrong, but don't say there's no Bruce in Marvel.
I feel like the
But
Hulk
who's
is
Arthur? Arthur is the Joker, the Penguin, or is there a different Arthur?
Arthur is the Joker.
Oh,
Arthur Fleck.
he's the Joker, right?
Yeah.
Is that DC?
No, it's also Aquaman. That's also DC.
Okay. Anyway.
That's the Justice League.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Traded DJ Moore, Ferguson, and McMillan for Debo Samuel, Laporta, and Dak. This is a crush. A+.
Yeah, what is that trade? That's a weird one.
I mean, you could have a big downgrade from Ferguson to Laporta. I mean, just based on targets, but it doesn't look like that's
no.
This is from Jake and KC. I had something terrible happen to me at the grocery store yesterday. The light was on for register 4. You know what? I think I'm going to play the Fantasy Cops music for this. Hold on 1 second here. The light was on at register 4, so I got in line and I waited. Another customer then came and waited behind me. But then another cashier came to register 2. He said that register 4 was on break, so he would take us over there at register 2. The customer behind me immediately half jogged over to register 2 in order to check out first. I was in line way before this other customer and was first in line at what we both thought was the open register. Is this worse than leaving your cart in the middle of the parking lot?
So when you leave your cart in the middle of the parking lot, you impact multiple people and you make everybody's life worse. When you do this, you make one person's life worse. With that said, this is a very egregious act to just cut in front of someone and slam into that line. And then, like, does the person look back and acknowledge what they just did, or they're just kind of because they got to go head forward at that point, like just looking at the register, just looking at the clerk, and that's it. So I would say it is equally as bad.
It's
definitely worse.
Worse? Okay. The leaving the cart, though, impacts a lot of people. Those carts roll out
in the middle of the street, and then people are trying to park or right in the middle of the parking lot. I had a moment where I had a tough guy moment at the Yankees game.
Oh no! What?
There's a really bad Yankee Stadium, man. Like, they need either more bathrooms or they need to take some of the women's rooms and make them men's rooms, because the women's rooms like never have a line. There's probably 5 times as many guys at the game, and the men's rooms have these like crazy long lines. And you missed action in the game. Okay. So we're all sitting there waiting to go to the bathroom. And you go in through one door and you come out through another door. And that outdoor is an open-closed door. The other one is just like an entryway, no door. There are always people who sneak into the outdoor. As people exit the bathroom, they sneak in. And we're all waiting there online. And they skip the whole line. Yeah. And I yelled at them. And I
said something?
Hey, buddy. Get in line. They didn't listen to me at all. Thank God, because they probably would have killed me. And I was pretty upset about that. You can't do that. That's bad etiquette, man.
Nobody backed you up.
Nobody backed me up. No,
nobody backed me up. I mean, I don't do it, but I've seen a lot of people. I see that all the time at Giants games when I used to go. I think that's just like a thing, Adam, at stadiums. People just go in the exit.
No, you wait on the line. We're all waiting on line.
Obviously, some people choose to wait online and keep it orderly. But, like, it's an overwhelming amount of people that do that. So it's hard to play police on that.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of it. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have more of your start, sit, and trade questions. Andrew is up next. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today. Okay, Andrew. Andrew is 8-0. He's trying to get to 9-0. Pick 2 in PPR. Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., David Njoku, or Jalen Waddle. Pick 2.
Waddle's out.
I think it's Harrison and Brian Thomas Jr. And if Brian Thomas Jr. sits, it's Harrison and Njoku for me.
I would probably go Brian Thomas Jr. and Njoku.
Really? Over Marvin? You going Njoku over Marvin Harrison? Okay.
I almost feel like Njoku is the safest one.
With Jameis, you might be right. But it's
not really just since Amari. I mean, even with the game where they all split, he's getting so many targets.
What is this greeting? Okay, it is Dear Reese, Jackson, Coolidge, and Salami.
No idea.
Salami, I don't know.
Reese, Jackson, Coolidge, Salami. No,
it's something called the White Shadow.
The White Shadow? What?
It's a TV show from the 1980s, maybe? I don't know. Very obscure. Very obscure.
Very obscure.
All right, from Brett's question is Connor, Dowdle, Hubbard, Dobbins. Pick 2. Connor, Dowdle, Hubbard, Dobbins.
Connor and Dobbins for me.
Connor and Hubbard for me.
Same here. Tyler says, hey, Corey, Kobe, Tyler, and Garrett. Kobe is C-O-B-Y. Corey, Kobe. What is with these greetings today? We need some layups here.
This is not a layup. I was thinking maybe it would be Bryant's, but it's not.
No, but you always do that. You always take one person and then assign the last name to the rest of the group.
My strategy for this game, correct?
I don't know. Something called Dude Perfect.
Oh, no shot. I know that.
This is making me feel really uncool. This whole show. I
know Dude Perfect. It's like the guy who works with Beckham and Odell Beckham. Like they do like trick shots and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Trick things.
I'm 8-0, and I traded Cooper Kupp, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Keon Coleman. All right, Kupp, Harrison, and Coleman for Tyreek Hill and Zay Flowers. Grade the trade. Kupp, Coleman,
I'll give it a B+. You get the best player in the deal. Tyreek's going to start having big games. I like it.
Yeah.
Here's a good question. Adam, is it waiting online or waiting in line?
In line.
I think it's in line. Yeah.
Also, you're on in line.
I think either one's acceptable. All right, this one is from Eric. Grade the trade. Give up DJ Moore and Raheem Mostert. This one's not even fair. Get George Pickens and Nick Chubb.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to throw Nick Chubb in there. Just getting George Pickens is
it would be an upgrade.
All right.
We get an inordinate amount of questions from Eric's on this show.
Yeah, well, I think people just pretend their name is Eric.
Gotcha.
No, I don't think so. It's a popular name. This is the second time this question's come up today. I'm going to let Dan weigh in on it. The most obvious answer in the world. Which was the better catch, Garrett Wilson or Odell Beckham?
I think it was so clearly Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch.
Right? Come on now. Come on.
Much harder to get your whole body around and make that catch. And he still, but Garrett did have a tighter space to get his feet in. I'll give him that.
Okay, except he didn't get his feet in. He got his foot.
Yeah, to get his shin in, or whatever we're calling that. Yeah.
People are really upset about this. Like a lot of people are like, that wasn't a George Pickens wasn't a catch.
It is stupid how the Pickens, I kind of agree. If the Pickens one isn't a catch, I don't know. I think they're both catches to me.
Why? Pickens only got one foot in.
Right. So Wilson got a foot and the same foot and a shin. Is that what it was?
The shin. Well, you know that. The shin is
the shin is a thing. No, that's fine.
It's so stupid. If Pickens would have hopped his whole way to the end zone, he wouldn't have counted.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what's stupid. Good point, Jamie. That's just to me, it's a dumb rule. Like it shouldn't be just technically like if a shin is down, it's like 2 feet, it's the same foot. What looked like more of a touchdown to you?
That's a good question.
Pickens touchdown for sure.
It's a good point, but I don't want to agree with it because I'm pretty entrenched in this. Like Pickens is clearly out. All right, this is from Daniel. As a commish, my league has commissioner approved trades, and we're in a pickle. My nephews 1 and 2, made a trade. Nephew 1 is in second place. Nephew 2 is in last place. Here is the proposal. Actually, I don't know if this trade ever went through, but here's the proposal. The team in second place, nephew in second place, gets Joe Burrow, Nico Collins, and Breece Hall. The nephew in last place gets Garrett Wilson and DeAndre Swift.
This is a horrific trade.
Why is it a horrific? Oh, and Bo Nix too. Sorry. Bo Nix, Garrett Wilson, and DeAndre Swift. What?
This is 1 QB, I assume, right?
Yeah, 1 QB.
No point including Bo Nix, but okay, go ahead.
Well, it happened. All right, so like team 1 is getting Joe Burrow and giving Bo Nix, getting Nico Collins and giving Garrett Wilson, getting Breece Hall and giving DeAndre Swift.
So they're winning by far all across the board, except maybe if you want to say Wilson versus Nico, which I'd still take Nico. He's almost all over his injury. There's 2 horrific parts of this deal. Burrow
Swift
for
the last month has been better than Breece Hall.
I don't know. I think
do you want Swift the rest of the season? Would you do that trade right now, Breece Hall for Swift, Jamie?
I'm not opposed to it though.
You're offered Swift right now for Breece Hall. You would accept that?
I wouldn't, but you know, it's part of a package deal where you got to take
the best part of the package right there.
But you got to take something into account of Nico Collins may not return next week, and if he does, how limited might he be? You know, like this may still be another multiple week injury for Garrett Wilson, who might be at least on par with him at this point.
So what are you doing? You're vetoing this?
No, I wouldn't veto it.
I wouldn't veto it, but it's a horrific trade by the last place team. It's just terrible job by him.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
a terrible job.
Your
And
trade
you
with
waited
Heath is
out
more
most of
beautiful than
Nico's
this one.
injury before trading. If you're a last place team, you've obviously been toiling away for weeks now. Nico's been on the eye for weeks. That's when you trade him at the very beginning of that because you get the discount. You're essentially saying, I'll take somebody who can play now.
Well, I don't know. This trade may have gone through before the Jets game last night. And then if he had Garrett Wilson,
Yeah, great.
then that's a good trade.
Yeah, good,
I don't know.
good trade. You want to call it a good trade?
No, I wouldn't say that. Sorry. I think you're overreacting here. You're just wrong.
I disagree entirely, but we'll see.
What'd you say about
this team?
What'd you say about my trade with Heath?
Your trade with Heath was more vetoable than this.
What was your trade with Heath?
So at all. I mean, to trade for McCaffrey, there's a lot of risk there for McCaffrey.
What was the trade
Stop
recently
it.
with Heath?
There is.
Not with what you gave up. Stop it.
I gave up Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is awesome. And Wan'Dale Robinson for Christian McCaffrey.
When?
Yesterday.
What?
How is this so bad? Aaron Jones.
Oh my God. Heath
Aaron
did
Jones
that?
He needs a win. He traded 3 49ers in 2 separate deals yesterday.
Oh my God. This one's obvious. This is the same concept as the Nico one. He waited out the whole McCaffrey injury where he could have traded him at any point and should have if he wanted to trade him. Waits till he's back and then dumps him for a couple guys now who can maybe help. Wait, Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones, like, have you been seeing the games? Aaron Jones is playing great. He's a must-start guy.
Crazy.
3-receiver PPR league. He gets Wan'Dale Robinson. He gets a number 3 guy. This is not.
I don't even know how he could possibly need a win now.
He
I don't
proposed.
even know what that means.
Well, I don't know. What's his record?
2-6.
What about now versus next week? Is
Oh,
different.
he's 2-6.
Oh, he's like in desperation.
He's in last place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he could have bought some wins if he had traded McCaffrey earlier and not waited out the whole injury.
2-6, and I'm in last place. Now he's only 2 games out of a playoff spot.
This is crazy.
You're in last place too?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm 5-3.
I'm very surprised by this trade by Heath. I
No,
don't really understand.
my team is. I'm gonna be throwing out Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey, and Joe Mixon in this league.
If I had McCaffrey, I would never just I would have to just test everyone before I made any trade. Like I'd be like, what can I get for McCaffrey?
Look,
What
man,
can I get for McCaffrey?
Look, Puka Nacua had a preseason injury, re-aggravated it in week 1.
Right.
Came back 8 weeks later, re-aggravated it again. Christian McCaffrey had a preseason injury, was maybe going to play in week 1, was maybe going to play in week 2, kept having flare-ups with his tendonitis, goes on IR, out for half the season. Who's to say it's not? There's an absolute risk with Christian.
Adam, if I put this trade on Twitter right now, what % do you think would take the McCaffrey side?
65.
92%.
65.
Over 80. Guarantee you it's over 80.
Go ahead. But I'll do it right now.
You do it. Yours.
No, I'm saying it was a good trade, but you can't deny that there is risk with Christian McCaffrey. I think there's
I'm
also
not saying there's not risk with
He
McCaffrey.
did not get enough by any stretch for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, not at this point.
And believe me,
if this
I
trade
had
was
multiple
made,
people
Adam,
questioning allowing that trade.
if this trade was made in week 2 or week 3, I'd be like, you know what? I don't love it, but this makes sense. He needs help now. He's all the Christian.
Especially it's not the Aaron Jones part of it. It's the Wan'Dale Robinson part of it. Like if this was Josh Downs and Aaron Jones, like, oh, okay, now you see the path to huge success for Downs, and Jones is still solid. Like Wan'Dale is fading fast, and it's hard to justify his further production. Now I know Heath is still in on Wan'Dale Robinson, at least based on his rankings. So I know what he's thinking. He's thinking he needs to get a win now, and that was probably the best he could do. I don't know if there was discussion between the two of you, or that was just offered to you and you accepted it. Like Heath offered
it to me, and then I
made the other deal with him, which was David Njoku and Alexander Madison for George Kittle and Juwan Jennings. Now he can't use those guys at all. Njoku and Kittle's the better player, but it's close based on what we've seen from Njoku. And Jennings and Madison, you can make a case Madison's in a better spot right now because of he's playing, great matchup, and a little bit more consistent. You know, Jennings is a wild card. So that trade to me is a little bit more even. I think I got the better side of it, but even. Like I mean, you really took advantage of it. With that one.
I didn't do anything. First, he did it. Is all of him.
I'm just shocked he'd wait out the whole McCaffrey injury and then get Aaron Jones and Wan'Dale Robinson.
All right. Where are we here?
That league pisses me off so much because I was clearly the best team there, and then losing Godwin and Diggs in back-to-back weeks is just
wow.
No, that's
Adam just got McCaffrey for free, basically. So I'm kidding, not free.
Come on. All right. This is from what do we got?
I'm playing Heath this week too.
I did the Eric one. I did that one. Oh, okay. From Mathen. I traded Dobbins, Jaden Reed, and Deontay Johnson. Dobbins, Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson. I got back Bijan, Olave, and Adam Thielen. Another great trade.
Another trade I like. Bijan and Olave for those 3.
All right, David in Chattanooga is in a 10-team PPR league with a bunch of old friends from high school. Some members have sat out a year here or there, and we've had to sub members in and out occasionally. However, about seven of us have been there every single year. One of these individuals makes the argument that there's about 5 to 10% skill involved in fantasy football, and the rest is just luck.
Love this.
However, this individual has never won a playoff game, much less a championship. I have won this particular league 4 times. I know there's skill involved. Luck is a big part, but 90%, this isn't blackjack. And even if it were, I'm not convinced blackjack is 90% luck. What says you?
This is a great email because I want to know what your guys' percentages is as well. I had a long argument with a friend at one point. He thinks that fantasy football is less luck than poker, less luck than poker. I could not disagree more. Fantasy football is way more luck based than poker. In poker, the best players usually tend to win all the time. I think fantasy football is 80% luck and 20%. I think that might even be too low. I would say 85. You can give yourself maybe a 15% edge at best from fantasy football, at best.
It takes skill to make the playoffs. It takes luck to win the championship. So you're getting there for the most part based on how you drafted, how you played the waiver wire. And then there's still luck involved with it. But I think that's certainly a little bit more skill. Once you get to the playoffs, you're playing against the 6 best teams in your league. And then it's going to take some luck. Who's healthy? Who has a better week? I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've gone in as the 1 seed, get a first round bye, first quarter of a game, your best player gets injured, leaves the game, and you have no chance.
I think there's a lot of sorry, go ahead. Do you have a percentage, Jamie?
Yeah. Well, no, go ahead. You go ahead. I have a different thought. Go ahead.
I just think that there's a lot of variables we're not factoring in. It's the schedule. It's the injury luck. Those are 2 massive variables that you can't control at all.
Right. So, I mean, to put this in some advice perspective, we talk about all the time, end of season schedule. And my response to that all the time, Adam, is we don't know who's going to be healthy by the time we get there. It's easy to sit here and say, we see this defense as being dominant. And then the Ravens defense falls apart, or the Steelers lose a TJ Watt, or the Browns lose a JOK, right? And now Dobbins matchup looks a little bit better, so all these things come into play. Aiden Hutchinson is still there for the Lions. Is anybody happy about playing their defense?
Not necessarily, but I get that. But I kind of push back on that a lot because, you're telling me that I can't plan ahead for end of season schedule because there might be injuries. Why should I go acquire a player? He could get hurt too.
No. I'm not saying you shouldn't plan ahead. You absolutely should plan ahead, but it shouldn't be something like we spent a lot of time talking about the Dolphins when we were saying go buy low on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and these guys when Tua was out. And Heath's response was, well, look who they're facing at the end of the season. And you should factor it in. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean it should be something that's end all be all. No. Obviously, the flip side of that is, well, what if Tua's hurt? You just went and spent trade capital to get one of those receivers and they stink.
This is my take now, being in my softball league where, it's just so obvious that some of the people have never played before and some of the people have a lot of experience. Some listen to this podcast. One of them is me. There are levels of skill in fantasy football. And I drafted a horrible team, but through waiver wire and trades, I've upgraded my team quite a bit. Now I've got a potential contender. I think it's about 50-50, honestly. But when you are playing against people who are at your skill level, then it's 80% luck. So I'm going to give a nuanced answer. You can go do your research and you can find the sleepers you like and dig into the data. And that stuff does matter. The harder you work at it, the better you're going to be at fantasy football. But if you're playing against a whole bunch of people who also do everything that you do, you don't really have that much of an advantage. Then I think it kind of becomes more luck and less skill.
That's my exact take, actually. Because there are still some leagues I play in where it's more novice, and those I have trouble not doing well in. But the ones that I play in, they're my home league where everybody's locked in, listening to all this content, all consuming all the content out there. It to me becomes 80% luck.
All right,
85.
Back to the questions here. Josh Downs. This is from C. Josh Downs or Jalen Waddle rest of season?
Josh Downs.
Downs.
Wow.
Very high on Downs. Rest away with Flacco.
From Michael, who is the best Packers receiver to have rest of season?
Still think Jaden Reed.
Yeah, I would agree.
From oh, this is a good one. From Neil in Boise. On Tuesday morning, I woke up at 4 a.m. I often listen to podcasts when that happens. They help me fall asleep. So I fired up Monday's Beyond the Box Score. Soon enough, I drifted into a dream where I found a door in my house that led to another house with other people living in it, a big garage, and a bar restaurant. I ended up at a table in the bar trying to talk to the people who lived in the other house, but the guy sitting next to me would not stop talking about fantasy football. Nobody could get a word in, and finally I had to tell him to shut up, and it was Dan working his way into my dream. I woke up laughing. I always enjoy the show, including Dan's extended sidebars about all manner of things. So thanks for that. And a possible discussion point, with the anticipated return of Christian McCaffrey, could George Kittle be a sell high candidate?
I wouldn't sell high on Kittle. I think McCaffrey's going to personally open up that entire offense. They're going to be able to do different things schematically they're going to be able to do, which could create that middle of the field area opening from a spatial standpoint. I've seen it happen before because he's going to be able to run routes, arrow routes, text, like all sorts of different things. As far as what you said, this is probably one of the better like mentions I've had in a dream, because I've had some, people are like, oh, you're in my dream and you pissed me off. You did this, you did that. So I'd say this is probably one of the more mild ones.
Kittle has been almost 6 fantasy points per game better than Trey McBride, which isn't a huge shock because he has 6 more touchdowns than Trey McBride. So I think that if you did a trade where you downgraded from Kittle to McBride, but got a starter in return, I think that could work for you. But I would say that with or without McCaffrey. All right. Let's take a break, and we've got the Fantasy Cops when we come back on Fantasy Cop Today. Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. The Fantasy Cops. Email us fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Put Fantasy Cops in the subject line. This one is from a brewer in the Bourbon State. And he says, I'm the commissioner of a 14-team, one quarterback PPR league. 2 of the teams at the bottom just made a trade. Team 1 gets Brock Purdy and Zach Moss. He already has Dak Prescott. Team 2 gets CeeDee Lamb and Blake Corum.
What the heck are we doing?
He says, I completely try that there is not collusion. I don't know what he meant. Maybe he meant trust.
Trust. So let's take it as.
I did put a clause in the bylaws that I can act in the, quote, competitive interests of the league, end quote, essentially giving me veto power over horrific trades. My policy is normally to never veto trades because you never know what will happen.
What is going on?
Yeah.
I opened the window because it's so hot in here, and now there's just gusts of wind. It's just
damn, like blowing away.
It just knocked over my seltzer. This is crazy.
Oh man! All right, so he wants to know if he should veto this trade, which is Brock Purdy and Zach Moss for CeeDee Lamb and Blake Corum. I know Dan will say just kick the weak manager out, but that's not happening. We're only playing for bragging rights among friends.
Yeah, then this
just
is
veto it.
Style of league it is. No, don't veto it. This is your bragging rights among friends league. Everybody's chill. It's all for fun. So that's what happens in a
the commissioner has a clause in there, and if that's the clause that's allowed and everybody agreed to it, then yes.
It's a terrible clause. It's subjective then, depending on what the commissioner decides is competitive for the league or not, or what ruins the competitive balance.
I wouldn't do it, but
I can't have that. This is the problem with these types of leagues. You don't want to run into that subjective issue where the commissioner has that kind of power, where it's like, well, I think this ruins the competitive balance, but this doesn't, and here's why. And then sometimes it ends up not. You just have to let trades go through. What you can control is the managers in your league. If it's competitive, this sounds not competitive. It's for fun. I say let it go through.
Yeah, I think that
it's a horrible trade. Obviously,
I was just thinking.
I don't know.
The NBA. Well, the NBA did. Remember the NBA vetoed?
Yeah, David Stern once vetoed that Chris Paul trade, which was horrible move by them.
No, I just wish this clause existed for the NBA during the Isaiah Thomas era, because Probably 10
Just
years.
auto veto any trade the Knicks
Get them
make.
back a decade, yeah. All right, sorry. Next Fantasy Cops. This one is from Costa from Stouffville in Ontario, Canada. Hey, Bill, Dan, Harold, and Ernie. Oh, let's see if Dave Schneier gets that. Bill, Dan, Harold, and Ernie.
No shot.
Jamie?
Bill, Dan, Harold, and Ernie. No.
The Ghostbusters.
Oh,
I've never seen Ghostbusters.
Oh,
any of them?
None of them. Bill Murray's in it, right? I think he's funny.
yeah, he's Bill.
You
think Dan Aykroyd's funny?
Not entirely sure who Dan Aykroyd is, but if I saw him, I'd know him. If I saw him, I'd know him. Let's look it up. If I saw him, I know him. Dan Aykroyd. Oh, there he is. Let's see what he looks like. I'm sure I'll know him when I see him. Yeah, I know him. Not really with the amount I expected to know him, though. I'll be honest with you.
I have
Blues Brothers, Trading Places, never seen it. Coneheads, never seen it. Yeah, he's
never
in
seen
all
Trading Places?
No, he's in all sorts of stuff.
You wouldn't like Trading Places. I tried watching.
Actually, I'm not positive. Like, I've heard of Dan Aykroyd.
You don't like Trading Places?
It's a little dated. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. Nope.
You never seen My Girl?
Nope.
I mean, that's not like the best Dan Aykroyd movie, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, I barely know Dan Aykroyd. Now that I'm looking at it. Nope, never saw Pearl Harbor.
He was in Pearl Harbor?
Yep. He's
I've seen like no movies.
He's the one that sees that the attack is coming.
But there's a great show on Adam that I think you know about, Shrinking.
Shrinking.
Season 2?
Shrinking is amazing. No, I'm still on season 1, episode 3.
You got to start watching.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, let's rewind here. Here's the scenario. 2 managers are playing each other. Both had their kickers on a bye. The managers agreed to not start a kicker that week so they wouldn't have to drop anyone on their bench. I should also add that the year before we had an incident where a manager had not started a tight end, which set the precedent of not having to start a full roster. Is this collusion?
It's a version. I think it's a version of collusion. Yeah.
I have no issue with not starting a full lineup if you don't want to bench people. If you don't want to drop people, you like your lineup and you're in a bye week. I have no issue with that, but I do have a little bit of an issue of 2 managers agreeing at the same time. And then again, I don't really think I'd do anything.
I've done this before where this is years ago playing against somebody and said, you're down a tight end. I'm down a tight end. Let's just get a 0 and there we don't have to change our lineups. And they agreed. I don't think that's collusion.
All right. I'm fine with it.
Technically, though, by the definition of collusion, it is collusion.
I don't know about that because isn't collusion 2 players conspiring?
We're both taking a 0.
Help one team. They're not helping each. They're just.
I don't think it's 2 players conspiring to help one team. I think the definition of collusion is 2 players conspiring to do something together in the league, and it's a 1-person game. It's not a 2 on whatever. It's a 1 on.
I don't know. I feel like it's conspiring to help one team
I don't know if that's true. Okay, we'll have to look that up after.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
That's pollution, says Mr.
It's not collusion, it's pollution.
All right, this is from Shad. Oh, I don't think I can read this greeting. Hey, Anthony, Glaber, Anthony, and Jazz.
I know this one.
This is
disappointing disappointing players in the playoffs.
You should read some of the stuff coming out about the Yankees and how the Dodgers scouting on them and how bad they were at just run the bases and make them make errors. They don't.
So it's basically all just shots at Boone.
I mean, I would say it's organizational, but yeah, it does not reflect well on the manager. My co-commission and I would like some assistance from the Fantasy Cops in our Dynasty League. A trade was accepted this evening that included Jameson Williams. The manager trading away Williams insinuated that he placed him on the block as soon as he saw the rumors about a warrant being issued for an arrest and was hoping to receive a good offer from someone that hadn't seen any news. The manager receiving Williams claims he didn't see the news until after a deal was struck, and he wouldn't have made the same deal if he'd known about the arrest and potential future suspension. First of all, he wasn't arrested, but yeah, I get what you're saying. How do you think we should proceed? We are stuck because it was admittedly shady business by manager A, but it's also manager B's responsibility to be up to speed on major news items.
What's so shady about
the latter is definitely what matters.
You know,
so I'll give you an example. I made a trade offer. Somebody in our Dynasty League offered put players on the block. I made an offer for a player. Trade was countered. I was like, let me do a little research to see if I really want to do this. And I was like, the guy he's replacing, the other guy could be coming back soon. I don't know if I want to do this deal for what I have to give up. So I paused and, glad I didn't get the first offer accepted. So you gotta do your due diligence. Sometimes we get excited because it's a player, and sometimes you can make a low ball offer or get a deal done that you like, and it may not be in your best interest because that player may be dealing with something that you weren't aware of. Like, think about all the times we deal with these questions on Fantasy Cops about, I made this trade of somebody and then found out later he was injured. Like, you gotta check on that to make sure that the player you're trading for is ready to go.
There have been times where we've had Fantasy Cops where like people didn't know, and I was like, look, they didn't mean to make the trade. They didn't. I usually reverse these trades. In this case,
but that's the point, though. Like,
so you're saying reverse it or keep it?
No. I think in the case of this, you got to keep it.
Why?
Because nothing's changed for Jameson. If he was arrested, it's a different story.
Okay. So you're saying that there's
no action that's happened yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, I think it's kind of a stretch to think there's going to be some type of thing that's going to really significantly impact his dynasty value. This is a dynasty league here.
Let's just say, for example, you had a deal in the works for Stephon Diggs, right? And the agreement was, I want to keep Stephon Diggs till after his week 8 game, then we'll make a trade for week 9. He tears his ACL in week 8. That trade should be nullified.
Yeah.
What if how about this? What if you had traded 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago for Jameson Williams and you didn't know about the suspension?
And that's on you.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually reverse that.
You gotta be like, we have to keep.
I don't think suspension is worthy of, unless season long. 2-game suspension is like, okay, you're just gonna have to deal with the results of that, because I mean, what if you had traded for, I don't know, somebody like a 2-week injury or something like that?
If there was new information, this is what happens. New information comes out. People take advantage of this. A guy pops up on the injury report, and then they immediately put him on the trade block because they're trying to trick someone into taking this guy without knowing about the injury. You get an email in your inbox that you've been offered this trade. The gut reaction is not to go, all right, let me Google this guy and see if there's an injury or something. You just accept you didn't hear about the injury. So
I do your homework.
I reverse.
All right, so let me put this on you as commissioner and someone who offered a trade. You offered me a trade for Anthony Richardson the minute after he was benched, right?
Not exactly, but yeah, I mean,
within hours after he was benched, you offered me a trade for Anthony Richardson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If it was, man, I can't believe I'm dealing with this. I want to be done with it. And then Joe Flacco's only going to be starting for 1 week. Oh, Adam, crap! I didn't know that there was only going to be 1 week. I thought he was done for the rest of the season. You wouldn't reverse it?
No.
So then
So when did you accept the trade?
I accepted it right away.
No, that's different. I'm saying that fantasy managers are not as tuned in as we are. The general fantasy manager. This is someone who didn't have the information. And when injuries or suspensions or arrests pop up midweek, you send a trade offer because people aren't aware of it, and you're basically trying to trick them into taking your player.
I'm okay.
Manager admitted to it. This manager admitted that's
okay. I agree. There's that's not great by the first manager did that. I don't think that absolves the second manager of just doing some work here. It's like, what are we trying to do in fantasy? We're trying to take all the work out of fantasy at this point. Like, you get a trade offer, you don't just accept it. You click the player name at the very least, take a look at some recent news, and start to do a little bit of research into this.
Generally, right there for what you're talking about, and look, suspended rest of season, injured rest of season, those are different conversations. Suspended for 2 games, you can't reverse that.
In this case, right now, Jamie, there's no update about this potential arrest. Like that is not something that is so obvious.
But that's what I'm talking about, though. Like there's no action that has happened yet. So Jameson Williams could return next week, no issues whatsoever, and then 2 weeks from now, the NFL commissioner decides we're going to suspend him for conduct detrimental to the league because he's had a history, and now there's something else that's arisen. He's going to sit out another 4 games. Like, you can't change that at that point.
No, but I'm just saying, like, all right, look, I know that I say accept this. I'm a very forgiving commissioner. I want people to have fun. I want people to enjoy fantasy football. And
Good, go back to week 1 and do the waivers the way they're supposed to be done.
Sorry, I can't do that. I'm also a bad commissioner. There's nothing I can do about that. No, but I don't know. I don't want this person to be duped. And I got to admit, like, I got the Christian McCaffrey trade offer yesterday. I didn't click on Christian McCaffrey's name to see if there was any latest news. In my opinion, I know all the latest news. I get the updates.
You ripped him off. That's why.
I didn't rip him off.
He ripped himself off. He ripped himself off. Yeah.
All right. That's it for the Fantasy Cops. Let's get on to our Apple Podcast questions here. We'll get to your YouTube comments shortly. This is from Bruno, Dear, Kane, Robert, Warwick, and Tony.
Tyrone Tracy has cleared the concussion protocol. He is good to go.
Okay, I don't know who Kane, Robert, Warwick, and Tony are.
Look who weighed in, and he's so right. Thomas Schaefer. That CMC deal was terrible. It really was. And wow, Thomas Schaefer. The fix is in.
I don't really.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but those are Aaron Jones is a horrible player, and
I mean those are
his bye. By the way, he's also had his bye. All right, the question is Tua or Caleb Williams in 4-point per passing touchdown league.
Caleb.
Yeah, I like the matchup better with Caleb.
All right, this one is from J-Bot. Dear Kurt, Chris, Chad, and Dave.
No idea.
Is it Nirvana?
Yeah, it's Nirvana, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know who Chad is. I guess he was an original member of, because I always thought Nirvana was just the three of them, Kurt, Chris, and Dave. This is on me.
Anytime you're Kurt and Dave, it's pretty obvious.
Chad Channing. It's obvious for most people, but some people don't know who Dan Aykroyd is. Grade the trade. 10-team PPR. I give Jordan Mason. I get Chris Olave.
Like, this is just ridiculous. Why are all the trades we've been put out today have been like these massively lopsided trades?
Dan Aykroyd is not on the Mount Rushmore of Saturday Night Live people, but he's certainly Hall of Fame. Saturday Night Live.
Well, that's a good Mount Rushmore.
That might be where I know him from because I certainly haven't seen it.
No, he was way before your time on that show. Who's the Mount Rushmore? I think Will Ferrell, Eddie Murphy,
Dana Carvey for sure.
Dana Carvey, yeah.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I think Eddie Murphy.
It's hard to say that Chevy Chase and Bill Murray aren't.
What about what's his name? I can't blank on his name. Tommy Boy. What's his name again? Chris Farley.
I think
when you hear my favorite Chris Farley role,
I think it's got to be Gilda Radner. I think it's just
you're ready if you're getting ready for a really bad take coming.
Kristen Wiig.
I got a bad take coming. Kristen Wiig, whoever did the Californians, I think that's the funniest skit on Saturday Night Live by far, and I think that's Kristen Wiig and a couple other people. I can't remember.
I know that skit.
Oh, check out the Californians. I really like it. But want to hear a really bad take incoming?
Oh, please.
My favorite Chris Farley role. What do you think it is?
Oh, it better not be like Black Sheep or Beverly Hills Ninja.
Such a bad take.
Oh, bus driver.
Yes, the bus driver from Billy Madison.
It's a great take. He's incredible. He's incredible.
He's so funny in that role.
Oh my God.
Good. He plays it perfect.
You can imagine what it would be like if he did. Huh? He's amazing. He's amazing. Oh, but I was like, turn this damn bus around.
Yeah, I'll turn this
damn quickly. I'll teach you. He's incredible. All right. Some more Apple Podcast questions here. I'm going to read them straight from Apple. Grade the trade. 6 and 2. I gave up David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, and Cedric Tillman for Nico Collins and Breece Hall.
Another one I love. This is crazy. Everyone's getting A+ trades in their league.
All right, let's see about this one from Bear Down. 10-team PPR league. I'm 5 and 3. This is a fantasy cops. 5 and 3. I traded with a 2 and 6 team. I give up Drake London, Tony Pollard, and Chuba Hubbard. I get Bijan Robinson, DK Metcalf, and Ricky Pearsall.
This is another good trade, right?
It's not awful.
I don't think people should be that angry though, because here's the thing. I don't know when this was made because this was sent in on Wednesday. But if these
trades are fine,
yeah, this is fine, especially if you thought Pollard was going to play because you were giving up Metcalf and Pearsall and Bijan, but you were getting London, Pollard, and Chuba Hubbard. You need a win at it. I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have. That's it. We're good. Okay. YouTube questions. What do we got on YouTube?
See you guys.
All right.
See you, Jamie.
Kate McKinnon. Yeah, she's very good. But Mount Rushmore. See, the thing about the problem with this Mount Rushmore question for SNL is,
you know what we never did, by the way? We never did the Halloween candy.
Oh, okay. Let me get the picture.
I have a picture up of your haul.
Let me get it. Let me share it on YouTube. What'd you do for Halloween?
What did I do for Halloween? Nothing. I don't think I played some
no
poker.
Parties or anything.
Nah, I played poker.
Online or with people?
No, game at a friend's house. Oh,
Chrome's house. Where's
poker friend's house?
Okay. Here, let me share it. Here's my Twitter. You can see what's trending on my Twitter.
This is Adam's haul.
Yeah, dig in. All right, we got some Twizzlers, we got some peanut butter M&Ms, we got some regular M&Ms, we've got Nerds, Milk Duds, some sour stuff in there. We got some Skittles, we got a Hershey's bar. Do we have it? I mean, there's a Reese's peanut butter cup in there. There's a Mr. Good bar in there.
Kit Kat.
There's a Kit Kat in there. Absolutely. All right. What are we thinking here? What are you going for?
All right. So the 1-1, without a doubt, it's a tried and true. It's kind of like a Matthew Stafford of candy. And it's the Reese's Cup. The Reese's Cup is the easy 1-1. Chocolate and peanut butter is a mix that simply can't really be beat. So we start there with the 1-1. We go down to the 1-2, which is those peanut butter M&Ms. Again, chocolate and peanut butter. Always felt like this was the best version of M&M. Now some will say that's blasphemy. The peanut M&M is the best version by far. That's their opinion, and it's the wrong one. I move forward to the 1-3 here, and we're looking at Kit Kat at the 1-3. Yeah, you may scoff at that pick. Oh, it's just Kit Kat. But
no, it's a great
Kit Kat. It's pretty good. The thing is, a lot of people, when it comes to these candy rankings, they try to like go for the obscure, right? They're going to rank the obscure stuff. Sometimes the simple stuff is the best stuff. And in this case, that's the case. We can go into the sour and the sugary type stuff. Like, I just think it's a different ranking though, Adam. So I'm going to stick and I'm going to do it separately. I'm going to rank all the chocolate first. Good Bars 4. I actually find them very underrated. Payday. No, regular Hershey bar is 5. Milk Duds 6.
There's a Snickers in there too. Don't skip the Snickers.
I'm not skipping Snickers. I'll get to that in a moment. 6 is Milk Duds. Would be great if they didn't stick to your teeth at such a consistent rate. Just ruins the whole candy experience there. We've got Payday coming in at 7, Musketeer at 8, and yes, all the way down at 9 is Snickers. I am not a fan of Snickers at all, really, to be completely honest.
Sorry to hear that.
Wildly overrated. And whenever you buy the bag, like the mix where it has like the Snickers and all the other ones, they overdo it. They always give you, tell me if you listeners listening it, and maybe you, Adam, will know this as well. It's always like a disproportionate amount of Snickers. I don't want 15 more Snickers in the bag. If anything, I want 15 fewer Snicker bars.
No, you're wrong about Snickers. Yeah, they are the best.
No, actually not that good. I'll take a Milky Way over Snicker any day. Any day. Now, on the other side, Twizzlers are great, underrated candy. Nerds Rope would be the number 1 here. Nerds Rope. And then regular Nerds are way down on the list.
Number 1 among the non-chocolate.
Among the non-chocolate. Oh, I'm forgetting Sour Patch. That's up there. I mean, it's all good. Oh, a Twix. I didn't even see a Twix.
There are gummy bears in there somewhere. Those would be by.
Are they the Haribo or no?
Yes.
Then yes, those are the number 1.
Haribo.
You get like a not Haribo. If you get the knockoff ones, it's just not the same.
Yeah. All right.
What's your favorite Haribo gummy bear? I got a flavor that's easily the best.
I couldn't tell you.
White pineapple. White pineapple.
Okay. Love your conviction. I love it. All right. We're back to your questions here from Cole, Keon, Coleman, Tillman, and the Jaguars running backs. Pick 2 in PPR. I'm going to go with the wide receivers if ETN plays.
Full PPR. We're going receivers.
If ETN doesn't play, I might go with.
Nope.
Let's
like the matchup. Let's sticking with Keon and Tillman.
Oh my God. Look at this ridiculous comment. Dan is funnier than Adam.
Love to see it. You love to see it.
Would you bench Dobbins, Kareem Hunt, or Josh Jacobs for Chase Brown or Josh Downs? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Josh Downs, you have to get in. Now, it's only one player.
I'm going to make this easy.
Tricky.
You're going to start. Oh, okay. My favorite in this group is Josh Jacobs.
Someone just said such a jerk comment, but it was funny.
What?
The barber must give Dan those Reese's after the haircuts, because why else would he return? Is this that bad of a haircut?
My favorite in the group is Josh Jacobs, followed by
so mean.
Followed by Chase Brown, followed by Josh Downs. Very close. Bucky Irving or Xavier Leggett, half PPR.
We're gonna go with Bucky. Adam, next time you have a private chat that's pertinent like that one, you need to tell me before. And direct my attention to it.
It's okay. Don't.
Also, you kind of set me up there.
Don't bring it up. Cooper, Shakir, or Ridley. Pick one in PPR. I'm going Cooper still if he plays.
Shakir. PPR, Shakir.
All right. Cousin Ernest is lying to you.
Thank you, Cousin Ernest. I appreciate it.
Air looks good, he says. Ken Walker, anytime touchdown or over 80.5. If that's rushing yards, I'm definitely taking the touchdown. If it's total yards, I'll probably go yards. They don't run that much. He's run the ball. He ran the ball 20 times in week 1. I don't think he's had more than 14 carries since. Like, of course, he could have 20 carries this game, but I would take the touchdown. 4-point per passing touchdown. Kyler Murray or Sam Darnold?
Kyler. I am very, very worried about this Vikings offense without Christian Darrisaw. I'm excited to see if they traded for Cam Robinson, if he could just step right in, but I'm skeptical to say the least.
Sit one. DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Tillman, Keon Coleman.
I'll sit Coleman.
I'll sit Tillman.
Yeah.
Would you trade Tillman for Jaden Reed?
Yes.
There you go. Brian Thomas Jr., Puka Nacua, or Josh Downs?
Downs.
Over Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, Downs. Blanking on the stat now that Jacob shared. I think with Flacco, he's like the 4th most yards, fantasy points per route run or yards per route run. One of the two. Both are predicting. Both are good at predicting future success.
JSN or Jalen Waddle, PPR?
I'll go Waddle. I got to get that going at some point.
Metcalf is out. I'm going to actually go JSN.
Okay. I don't trust JSN.
It's kind of dumb. No, it's not. It's not dumb. Because Achane is getting so many targets. And the Bills give up the most receiving yards to running back. So I don't think that's going to change. And Tua doesn't have great history against the Bills. And I said this, my favorite stat of the week. My two favorite stats of the week. One of my favorite stats. The Seahawks are the most pass-heavy team in football. They have the highest pass rate. The Rams give up the 2nd most yards per attempt, passing yards per attempt in the NFL, but they've seen the 6th fewest attempts per game because almost every team they've played has been run-heavy. They've just had a schedule of teams that like to run the ball. They played one team that's pass-heavy. It's the Raiders. The Raiders threw 44 times. So I love this matchup for JSN. I think they'll throw a lot, and it's kind of sneaky.
Good enough rationale. I like it.
Metcalf has to be out for me to start him over Waddle. Rank rest of season. Dak, Baker, Stafford.
Stafford 1. Dak 2, Baker 3.
I'm going to go Baker 1 because I think he's playing great, and I think you got to get through the next few weeks, but when he gets Mike Evans back, he'll be better than both of them. I'll go Baker, Stafford, Dak. Loving Liam Cohen here.
Great. He's running a great offense there.
Adam, what is the draft board behind you? This is a fake draft board I did a few years ago. I gave Dave 18 running backs, or actually 18 rounds in this draft. Let's see what else I did here.
You gave me every Giant in existence at the time.
Yeah, I gave you Saquon Barkley in round 1, Kadarius Toney, Ezekiel Elliott in round 3. I don't know why I did that.
I don't either.
Daniel Jones, Odell Beckham. I gave you Breece Hall. That was a good pick. Daniel Bellinger. Tyrod Taylor. I gave you both Giants quarterbacks. All right, a couple more questions here. Dynasty, trade away Tank Dell and a 1st-round pick to get Kyren Williams.
I think it's a good trade if you're trying to win now, which is clearly he is.
And Ferguson and Neighbors for McBride and Devontae Smith.
I'm in on that.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd rather have the McBride side.
I just love McBride, yeah.
I don't think I'd do it. I'm worried about Neighbors.
We're starting to see a little scary stuff with Neighbors lately.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. All right, we're out. Later, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you.